Greetings, this is your public speaking instructor going over Week 5, Module 5. This week will run from June 15th to June 21st. An overview for Module number 5 includes the learning unit for the second persuasive speech. This is the last formal speech you are required to give for this course. You need to go over the learning unit for Chapter 5 on analyzing your audience. And we also take a look again at Chapter 14, Understanding Principles of Persuasive Speaking, and Chapter 15, Using Persuasive Strategies. Important due dates to remember for this week are Wednesday, June 17th at 11:45 p.m. The second persuasive specific purpose and central idea assignment is due. By Friday, June 19th at 11:45 p.m., your rough draft outline is due so I can review it and give you feedback. And by Sunday, June 21st, Module number 5 should be completed. All discussion board posts and learning activity assignments that relate to the Learning Unit chapter should be uploaded to Blackboard. Also by Sunday, June 21st, the second persuasive speech needs to be uploaded to MediaShare. Assignment overview for this module. Your learning activities include the specific purpose and central idea for the second persuasive speech. Again, you know that that's due early on Wednesday. Your draft outline, which is due early by Friday. You also have an assignment that corresponds to the Chapter 14 learning unit that looks at propositions of fact, value of policy speeches. And you have an activity that corresponds to the Chapter 15 learning unit, which looks at reasoning for persuasive speeches. Those two activities are not due until June 21st. You also have 2 discussion board posts that go along with Module number 5. One discussion board post corresponds with Chapter 5's learning unit on audience adaptation, and one discussion board corresponds to the Chapter 15 learning unit, methods of persuasion and context, where you will watch a sample speech and give me some feedback that relates to the discussion board questions. Again, those discussion board posts must be uploaded by Sunday, June 21st. Speech guidelines for your last formal speech. The time limit for the second persuasive speech is 5 to 7 minutes. As a reminder, your final outline is graded with the speech. Please remember to highlight your citation sentences and include a bibliography. As a reminder, you must use note cards for your speech and no visual aid is required. Supporting material stays the same as the last 2 speeches. You need 5 pieces of supporting material, meaning you should have 5 oral citations during the delivery of your speech, and you should have 3 different sources listed on your bibliography. If you read anything about an audience analysis, please disregard it. That is something we do in the traditional face-to-face class. So if I overlook deleting that out somewhere, please disregard. For the persuasive speech number 2, you are given a choice to persuade the audience on a proposition of fact, value, or policy. You have a choice in the type of persuasive speech you choose. If you do a proposition of fact, you are arguing that a particular view is true or false, real or unreal, based on knowledge and research. So in essence, you assert that the viewpoint is true or false, real or unreal. If you do a proposition of value, you assert an opinion based on your belief system. You decide whether something is good, bad, right, wrong, just, unjust, the best, the worst, etc. And you support it with standards and evidence. If you do a proposition of policy, you assert that something should or should not be done with a clear problem and solution. Please remember that for your first persuasive speech, you did a proposition of policy. You are allowed to do that same type of speech again if you choose to. Let's take a closer look at some examples. An example of a proposition of fact. Remember, you assert that something is true or false and that something did or did not happen. An example might be to persuade my audience that extraterrestrials do exist. I'm going to prove that they are real. The central idea would state, extraterrestrials do exist because of video or photo evidence, scientific instruments, and the formation of crop circles. So the organizational pattern for a proposition of fact is topical. You may think that this is similar to informative, and in a way it is because you're using a topical organizational pattern. However, you are creating an argument that extraterrestrials do exist, and each main point has evidence to persuade us to believe or agree with you. Each main point provides evidence and support for your argument. So by the end of your speech, those of us who are skeptical, we should also agree that they exist. Here's an example of a proposition of value. Remember, this is where you assert a value judgment: right, wrong, fair, unfair, good, bad. This example is to persuade my audience that Toyota is the best car manufacturer. The central idea states Toyota is the best car manufacturer because safety features, highway performance, and luxury cars. Again, the organizational pattern is topical. I establish standards to support my opinion and value judgment. In order for a car to be the best, it has to have safety features, highway performance, and luxury cars. I will then prove that Toyota meets those standards in each of those main points. So each main point is a standard that I have established to support my argument. So if I say something is wrong, I have standards for what makes it wrong, and then I prove that my topic matches those standards. A proposition of policy you should all be familiar with. Here's an example. To persuade my audience, you should be an organ donor. The central idea: you should be an organ donor because it can save lives. Your organizational pattern for a policy speech is a choice of either Monroe's motivated sequence, or you can do a simple 2-point problem solution speech. The only difference that Monroe's has is that they provide a third point of the visualization step to create the imagery of the benefits of your plan and the consequences if no action is taken. If you do a problem solution, again, please note that is only 2 main points. Point 1 is the problem, point 2 is the solution. No third point is included there. That's only if you do Monroe's motivated sequence. Again, policy speeches require an action or change. You establish a need or a problem. You satisfy the need or provide a solution to motivate the audience. Looking ahead at our last week, module number 6, this ends the last formal speech for the class, and the last module for week 6 is a wrap-up course. Extra credit is available for module number 6 in week 6. This speech is very much like your introduction speech. It does not require an audience. If you choose to do the ceremonial speech, it is worth 20 extra credit points. Next week also contains a self-reflection discussion board post, and then the second exam over chapters 5, 7, 10, 11, 14, and 15. So we will be doing our last formal speech on Sunday, June 21st, and then you will have a wrap-up for our last week of this class. Again, if you have any questions or are confused at all, please call or email. Have a great week.